pair of Swan parents took their babies out for a little adventure, but ended up losing their way. Before they knew it, they'd wandered straight into the middle of a busy road. Cars were rushing past from every direction, and the Swan mom and her babies just crouched down in fear, too terrified to move. But the brave Swan dad, he stood his ground right beside them, doing everything he could to shield his family from harm. Drivers passing by noticed the frightened family and slowed down one by one, doing their best not to scare them any further. A traffic officer nearby, busy as always, rushed over to take control of the situation, making sure the Swan family stayed safe. Cars that followed cooperated immediately, choosing to detour, and pedestrians passing by couldn't help but stop to watch this unexpectedly heartwarming moment. Everyone there, their eyes stayed glued to the Swan family, hoping, praying they'd make it safely off that hectic street. But this area was already extremely busy, and with more and more people stopping to watch, the crowded road became completely jammed. The Swan family, frightened and overwhelmed, didn't dare move at all. The officer realized that if this continued, the traffic would only get worse, so he waited for a break in the traffic, and with help from caring bystanders, held up a blanket behind the Swans, gently guiding them toward the safety of the roadside. In an instant, the traffic jam began to clear, and the officer, after making sure the Swan family was finally safe, he hopped back on his bike and rode off from the scene. But the Swan family, they didn't leave. With all the people watching, they were still anxious and unsure. Everything around them, the noise, the crowd, left them confused and overwhelmed. Just then, a kind older woman stepped forward, hoping to help. But the Swan dad saw her as a threat, and instantly spread his wings wide, shielding his mate and babies like a warrior. But the woman didn't back down. Bravely, she guided the Swan family toward a safer spot and called local animal rescue. The rescue team arrived quickly. One man gently placed the baby swan into a netted carrier, hoping the parents would follow. Another kind uncle walked behind them, calmly herding the adults forward. Together, they guided the Swan couple toward a nearby park. There, a natural lake waited, a perfect home for swans. To help the cautious pair reach the water, the rescuer kept gently urging them along with the net in his hands. The swans didn't really understand. But with the man's persistence, they kept moving forward. And finally, after all that effort, they reached the lake. The Swan couple glided peacefully across the water, finally understanding the rescuer's good intentions. All that worry, gone, replaced with relief and gratitude. The crowd watching cheered for them, overjoyed to see the family safe at last. But before they could celebrate for long, the rescuer spotted something across the lake. Another swan living there. But the rescuer felt a chill run down his spine. He didn't expect that the next moment, the local swan, a fierce guardian of the lake, charged straight at them. Swan dad, caught completely off guard, flapped wildly in panic. He tried to retreat, wings beating frantically, totally opposed to the newcomers invading his territory. Every time he neared the shore, the resident swan would relentlessly chase him off. The rescuer watched, helpless. There was no choice but to secure the little swans first, placing them safely inside the car for the time being. Then he went back to deal with the wary adults. Facing the agile parents, he had no choice but to hook Swan dad with a long pole and carefully lift him into the car. Then he returned for Swan mom. Faced with capture after capture, Swan mom gave up resisting. She was gently secured and placed into the car as well. After all, family stays together. And luckily, the rescuer finally found an unclaimed lake and safely guided the family in. The Swan rescue mission had finally reached its end. But the baby swans were utterly bewildered. Having such confused parents was definitely an adventure they hadn't signed up for. Thankfully, kind-hearted citizens stepped in to ensure the swans made it safely back to their new home.